The sea spider that lives in a coral reef fits on your thumbnail. Find that same animal in the Antarctic Ocean, and its leg span approaches 2 feet. Not a different species, the same family, the same body plan. One variable changed. That variable is oxygen. And what it reveals about the physics of life on this planet has been hiding in plain sight. Cold water dissolves more oxygen than warm water. For cold-blooded animals, this moves the ceiling on body size. This video documents exactly what evolution does when that ceiling disappears. Here's the constraint that governs all life in warm oceans. Oxygen dissolves into seawater. The warmer the water, the less it holds. For cold-blooded animals, every fish, squid, crustacean, and invertebrate that extracts oxygen directly from the water, this sets a hard limit on how large a body can grow. Larger bodies demand more oxygen per cell. Warm water cannot supply it. The body hits a ceiling and stops. Drop the temperature to near freezing, and that ceiling disappears. Antarctic waters sit between 28 and 35 degrees Fahrenheit. At those temperatures, dissolved oxygen concentrations tend to run significantly higher than equatorial waters, often substantially higher during the coldest seasons. For a cold-blooded animal, this is not just abundance. It is the removal of a constraint that has governed body size for hundreds of millions of years. But abundance alone does not explain the scale of what evolved here. In the polar ocean, the cold also slows metabolism, the rate at which cells burn through that oxygen. Larger bodies, operating at a lower metabolic rate, become more efficient. They burn less energy per unit of mass. The two effects compound. Oxygen is the gate. Ecology decides what walks through it. Temperature, predation pressure, food seasonality, and life history all shape which species that gate opens for. The result is polar gigantism, documented across dozens of Antarctic species, from near microscopic crustaceans to animals that dwarf anything in the warm ocean. The colossal squid is where this becomes undeniable. Most people assume the colossal squid is a product of the deep sea. The pressure, the darkness, the isolation. That combination built something massive. That assumption is incomplete. The colossal squid belongs to a family called glass squids, a group named for their translucency. Small, clear-bodied, built for open water camouflage. The colossal squid shares their anatomy. It does not share their size, their transparency, or their ecological role. Antarctic waters reshaped it entirely. The colossal squid hunts in the Southern Ocean surrounding Antarctica, in water close to, and sometimes below, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. The salinity prevents it from freezing. The cold keeps it oxygen-dense. Over millions of years, the oxygen surplus drove the glass squid body plan towards something unrecognizable. The transparency appears to have disappeared first. Evidence suggests that in near-freezing water, camouflage through translucency loses much of its advantage. The colossal squid developed thick, opaque flesh, better insulation, greater mass for heat retention. Its skin turned reddish. At depth, red wavelengths vanish from the light spectrum, rendering the animal invisible to the bioluminescent prey it approaches. It did not give up stealth. It traded one form for another. The largest confirmed specimen, recovered in 2007 and now held at Te Papa Museum in New Zealand, weighed at least 495 kilograms, more than 1,090 pounds, approaching half a metric ton. Its eyes measure roughly 11 inches across, not built to see in low light, built to detect the shadow of a predator moving against the faint bioluminescence of the layer above. Biological telescopes calibrated to the specific physics of the deep. But the colossal squid carries a second variable that makes it a special case. It lives deep. Deep sea gigantism operates through different pressures, reduced metabolic demands at depth, sparse food supplies that favor larger storage capacity, and reduced predator competition. The colossal squid inhabits both extremes simultaneously, near freezing polar water and significant depth. Both sets of conditions acted on the same body simultaneously. That convergence is why no other invertebrate on Earth comes close. Almost everything known about how it feeds comes from a single source: the stomach contents of the one predator willing to hunt it. And it is not the only species the cold rebuilt entirely. The colossal squid is one data point. What makes polar gigantism significant is that it appears independently across entirely unrelated animal groups. Sea spiders are not actually spiders. They are their own ancient group. Pycnogonids, a separate branch of the arthropod family tree that split off roughly 500 million years ago. In warm and temperate water, they stay small, half an inch to an inch across, about the size of a thumbnail. In the Antarctic, the same family produces animals with leg spans approaching 2 feet. Sea spiders do not have gills. They breathe through diffusion. Oxygen passes through the surface of their legs directly into their bodies. In cold, oxygen-saturated Antarctic water, those legs absorb enough oxygen to sustain a body that would suffocate in warmer seas. The leg surface area is the respiratory organ. Cold water makes the oxygen available. The animal grows until something else limits it. Their size shapes how they hunt. Antarctic sea spiders cross the seafloor on legs that function as stilts, stepping over sponges, corals, and starfish without disturbing them. They extend a rigid, hollow proboscis into soft-bodied prey and extract the tissue from inside. The prey encounters no violence it can detect until it is already too late. In the Antarctic, their prey has also been through the same selection process. A typical starfish has 5 arms, reaches roughly 8 inches across, and lives about 5 years. Antarctic starfish routinely carry more than 50 arms. Some individuals reach over 100. Body size runs several times larger than warm water relatives. Average lifespan can exceed 40 years. In warmer seas, metabolic pressure is high and predator pressure is constant. Evolution drives toward efficiency. 5 arms, fast reproduction, short life. In the Antarctic, metabolism slows. Predators are scarce. Environmental conditions stay stable for decades at a time. Extra arms do not cost enough energy to eliminate them. When metabolism runs this slow, a longer life is simply what happens. Antarctic starfish are also active predators, documented in the field feeding on mollusks and, in multiple recorded cases, other starfish. In a system where everything scaled, predation scaled with it. In this ocean, the baseline rules of autonomy are subject to revision. But none of these animals is the largest produced by the polar ocean. The scale compounds. The lion's mane jellyfish. Its body reaches roughly 6 feet across in the largest recorded specimens. Its tentacles have been recorded at up to 120 feet, longer than the maximum recorded blue whale. The lion's mane inhabits cold northern and Arctic waters. Not specifically Antarctic, but the same conditions apply. Cold, oxygen-dense water. The same result. Compare it to the blue jellyfish, a close relative inhabiting warmer Atlantic and Pacific waters. The blue jellyfish reaches a fraction of the lion's mane scale. Same lineage, different water temperature. One variable accounts for the entire size gap: water temperature acting on the same body plan. The lion's mane does not hunt with intelligence. It drifts, tentacles extended across up to 120 feet of water column. Any animal that contacts those tentacles is immobilized and consumed. At that reach, most things that enter the water column don't leave it. The cold builds giants at every temperature, every depth, every body plan it touches. But not every lineage received the same result. Here is the limit polar gigantism cannot cross. Cold-blooded animals extract oxygen from water. In cold water, supply increases and metabolic cost decreases simultaneously. Both variables move in the right direction. The body can grow without paying a proportional energy penalty. Warm-blooded animals generate their own heat. That process burns calories constantly, at every temperature, with no reduction in cold environments. The colder the surroundings, the greater the caloric demand, not the lower. A larger, warm-blooded body in the Antarctic does not benefit from oxygen abundance in the water. It simply costs more calories to maintain. Bergmann's rule documents this. In cold climates, warm-blooded animals do trend larger because larger bodies retain heat more efficiently. Surface area to volume ratio. The polar bear is larger than its closest relatives. The emperor penguin dwarfs tropical penguin species. More mass, lower heat loss. But Bergmann's rule has a ceiling. Food in polar environments is finite. A warm-blooded body that grows too large starves before it reproduces. The mechanism that drives size up runs directly into the metabolic cost that limits it. The effect does not stop at the large end. Antarctic copepods, a cold water variant of crustacean family found across all oceans, run roughly 10 times heavier than their tropical counterparts. Tropical copepods are too small to see unaided. Antarctic copepods reach up to half an inch in length, visible with the naked eye. At the scale of plankton, half an inch represents an order of magnitude shift in body mass. The same physics, the same cold water, the same removed ceiling. The polar ocean scales what it touches, from over 1,000 pounds of squid down to something smaller than a fingernail that most people will never see. But the cold is not a simple size accelerator. The evidence for that comes from the exceptions. Not every Antarctic species grew larger. Certain ice fish and snailfish in the Antarctic are noticeably smaller than their warm water relatives. In these cases, the seasonal structure of food availability overrides the oxygen advantage. The Antarctic winter eliminates most food sources for months. A smaller body reaches reproductive maturity faster, survives longer gaps between feeding opportunities, and produces offspring in a shorter seasonal window. Polar dwarfism is rare. The majority of Antarctic cold-blooded species demonstrate gigantism. It is a pressure amplifier. Whatever biological strategy a lineage already employs, the Antarctic intensifies it. And the cold changed something else entirely. Not just what evolves, but how fast evolution itself can run. Cold slows chemical reactions. At near freezing temperatures, metabolic processes, cellular repair, and reproduction all run at reduced rates. A generation that turns over in 3 years in warmer oceans can take 30 years in the Antarctic. When generations are 30 years long, evolution slows by an equivalent factor. Genetic variation accumulates slowly. Selection pressure acts fewer times per century. Many Antarctic species are, in a practical sense, living fossils. Sea spider lineages documented to have remained nearly unchanged for tens of millions of years. The environment that slowed their metabolism also slowed the clock of evolutionary change. A population that takes decades to reproduce takes centuries to recover from a single collapse. These animals are not adapted to a shifting world. They are optimized for one that stayed the same. That world is changing. Every advantage polar gigantism provides becomes a liability when water temperature rises. Warmer water holds less dissolved oxygen. For a cold-blooded animal whose body mass was calibrated over millions of years to a specific oxygen concentration, a drop in dissolved oxygen is not a stress to adapt to. It is a mismatch between the body's demands and the environment's supply. The larger the body, the more severe the mismatch. Documented data on Antarctic sea spiders shows measurable reduction in maximum body sizes in areas where water temperature has increased. The animals are not dying immediately. The largest individuals, those requiring the most oxygen, are failing to survive long enough to reproduce. The size ceiling is dropping. The colossal squid presents a different problem. For colossal squids, direct population data is difficult to obtain. The animals are almost never observed alive. What researchers know comes primarily from the stomach contents of sperm whales. But the same physics applies regardless. A body built to those tolerances has no physiological buffer when that water warms. These lineages have no evolutionary memory of temperature change. The Antarctic has maintained cold, stable conditions for roughly 34 million years. The sea spiders, the starfish, the copepods, the environment delivered what they needed every year for tens of millions of years. Cold water, high oxygen, slow metabolism, stable environment. Those 4 conditions built the largest invertebrate on Earth, a jellyfish with tentacles longer than a blue whale, and sea spiders approaching 2 feet across. These animals were not built for a changing world. They were built for this one, cold, stable, and oxygen-rich. That world is being dismantled faster than 34 million years of evolution can respond to. The sea spider, the colossal squid, the lion's mane. One of these things should not exist. Which one? The colossal squid has one known predator, the sperm whale. Find out why the entire ocean goes silent when it hunts. That video is on screen now. Subscribe for more mysteries below the blue. See you in the deep.